So I finally caught up with ReZero Season 3, and man, I wish there were more episodes to binge. I'm not even gonna lie, this series has officially locked itself in as my favorite isekai of all time. It low-key opened the floodgates for me to dive deeper into the isekai genre, and as a die-hard shonen fan, that's saying a lot. And just like seasons 1 and 2 this season, absolute peak, or dare I say, a masterpiece. What stood out to me the most? The fights. Oh, the fights. This season is stacked with some of the cleanest, most intense battles we've seen in ReZero so far. And yeah, I know some folks have been saying this season lacks the usual Subaru suffering, the trauma, the endless death loops we got in the earlier arcs. But honestly, that's exactly why I loved it. First off, Subaru not going through constant death loops isn't a flaw, it's growth. It shows how far he's come. He's not trying to carry the whole world on his back anymore. He's leaning on his friends, his allies, and that's why the season 3 key visual hits so hard. Subaru's not standing alone in the shadows anymore. He's surrounded by people who've got his back. That's powerful. Second, let's be real. If Subaru kept dying over and over again, it would start to feel repetitive. The stakes don't always have to be tied to pain. Sometimes they're tied to progress, and that's what this season nails Subaru moving forward. Not just surviving, but living. And the good news, season 4 of ReZero has officially been confirmed. Let's go! I'm really hoping it airs later this year because I legit cannot wait. You already know I'll be covering every single episode the moment it drops. Breakdowns, reactions, deep dives, all of it. We're going all in. In the meantime, while we wait for that next season of Heat, I'm planning to catch up with the light novels, or maybe even reread the manga. Though now that I think about it, I remember hearing the manga hasn't fully caught up with the anime or the novels yet. Still, I went ahead and read it anyway, mainly because there's a lot of content that got cut from the anime and I just needed more ReZero in my life, you know? Now on to the bad news. My beloved Rem is still stuck in that damn coma. After having her name devoured by gluttony, she's just been gone. And I really had hope we'd see her make a return this season, but nope, nothing. How dare you, Tape-sensei, you broke our hearts all over again. But before we dive deep into this video, I just want to take a second to say thank you, seriously, to the ReZero community. Y'all have been amazing, so welcoming, so passionate, and honestly, your support on this ReZero journey has meant the world to me. You guys are the best. Alright, y'all know the drill. Today I'll be breaking down my favorite parts of ReZero Season 3. Now don't get it twisted, I genuinely loved every single second of this season, but for the sake of not turning this video into a whole movie, I'm just gonna focus on the standout moments and give my initial thoughts. Hope you're cool with that. First things first, we gotta take a moment to appreciate the sidecast. Seriously, this season made me fall in love with every single one of them. Everyone played a crucial role. No wasted screen time, no throwaway characters, and honestly, this is how you write a supporting cast. Each character felt important. They weren't just there to fill space, they helped shape Subaru's journey and push the story forward in meaningful ways. Absolute chef's kiss. And speaking of standout characters, can someone please explain how ridiculously overpowered this man Reinhard is? Like, bro, at this point he's just doing side quests for fun. Man easily claps Elsa, takes down monster form Puck like it's nothing, and then, yes, you heard me right, jumps to the moon and back using the moon jump to Earth. I can't even, and that name, bro, Reinhard van Astrea. Put that next to Julius Novachrono, Lelouch Vibritannia, and Manjiro Sano, and you've got a Mount Rushmore of the hardest anime names ever spoken. Oh, and how could I forget, ReZero Season 3 actually takes place a whole year after Season 2, and trust me, a lot has changed since then. Subaru's been putting in the work, my guy's been training non-stop, and now he's wielding a whip. Yeah, you heard that right, a whip, and he's cold with it, tactical, precise, it fits his style perfectly. Honestly, I low-key thought he'd be leaning into the sloth witch factor by now, but I guess the drawbacks are still way too heavy. Makes sense though, Subaru's never been about raw power, it's his heart, his mind, and now that whip game that keeps him in the fight. Anyway, the story really kicks off when the gang gets summoned by Anastasia, who claims to have found a crystal that might actually bring Puck back. That sets the stage for the new location in Season 3, the city of Pristella. And let me just say, it instantly gave me Water 7 vibes from One Piece. Can't unsee it, and in Pristella, everybody's here. I mean everybody. The royal selection candidates, the royal guards, familiar faces we haven't seen in ages. It's like an all-star reunion. And shout out to episode 1 being a full hour-long special. That opener gave us everything. World building, new characters, and a serious tone shift as we get introduced to the main villains of the season, the Sin Archbishops. We learn that the remains of one of the witches is buried underneath Pristella, and yeah, that's exactly what the Archbishops are hunting for. The chaos starts early when we meet Regulus Corneus, the Sin Archbishop of Greed, who just casually bumps into Amelia. But here's the weird part, she doesn't recognize him at all. Like, what? That moment threw me off. Then we meet Sirius, the Sin Archbishop of Wrath, and oh man, she wastes no time. She straight up slaughters Subaru and a bunch of civilians. That was the first death loop of the season, and right then I knew, yeah, these death loops ain't over, not even with Reinhard in the city. That's how bad things were getting. But it's not until Amelia steps in that the tide starts to shift, and the way Sirius talks to her, the way she reacts to Subaru when he channels the sloth witch factor, I knew something was up. She talks like she knows Amelia personally, and with those elf ears peeking out from under her bandages, it clicked for me. That's gotta be Fortuna. All signs point to it. Anyway, back to the madness. Regulus shows up and just straight up kidnaps Amelia. Bro demands to marry her. Yeah, you heard me right. Man goes full villain mode with zero warning. And then boom, we hear Capella's broadcast echoing through Pristella. She reveals that the witch cult is officially in the city and they're making some insane demand. They want the witch's remains, the Book of Wisdom, and Beatrice. Like, y'all are asking for everything. But here's the kicker. It turns out moving the witch's remains will literally cause the entire city of Pristella to collapse. So yeah, no negotiations, no handing things over. The only choice left, fight back. And you know I was hyped for that. And honestly, the battles delivered, the tension, the stakes, chef's kiss. During all the chaos, Subaru ends up facing Gluttony and something instantly felt off. I was like, wait a minute, isn't this Gluttony different from the one that devoured Rem's name? And I was right. Later on, Otto confirms it when he meets the other Gluttony. Turns out there are two of them, Roy and Lai. Twins, clones, siblings, who knows, but they're both terrifying in their own way. And honestly, I was waiting for Subaru to snap the moment he saw Gluttony. I thought he'd just lose it. But to my surprise, he held it together, matured, let Julius take the lead while the team split up to handle different threats. Subaru and Crush went after Capella, Julius and Ricardo squared off with Gluttony, and Garfiel and Wilhelm faced off against other witch cult members. The squad was locked in. Capella, though, she's built different. She tricks Crush and Subaru using some shape-shifting ability, turning into all kinds of grotesque things, and then out of nowhere rips Subaru's leg clean off. And just to twist the knife, she pours dragon blood on both Crush and Subaru. Man, Crush seriously can't catch a break. First her memories, now this. She's been through it. At this point, I was sure Subaru would pull the trigger on return by death. I mean, leg gone, Crush infected, it looked over, but then things go even crazier. The entire city floods, chaos, everyone's swept away in the current, and when Subaru finally wakes up, his leg, it's back, healed, fully regenerated. And I'm sitting there like, wait, does this man have a new supernatural healing ability now? What is going on? The stakes just keep getting higher, and the mysteries deeper. And of course, we can't talk about ReZero without diving into the emotional gut punches this season delivered, because let's be real, ReZero isn't ReZero without those scenes that just hit you in the chest. One of the first that really got to me was Garfiel's moment, when he finds out that his mom had been alive this whole time. Alive. Turns out she lost her memories after leaving, and she ended up being saved by a kind man who married her and raised a new family with her kid. And seeing Garfiel process all of that, man, it broke me. The confusion, the anger, the quiet acceptance, it was so real. And it just goes to show how much Garfiel keeps growing as a character. He's come so far from where he started. Then we dive into the Van Astrea family's tragic path. Talk about a family that's been through absolute hell. It's messy, it's painful, and it all builds up to that moment. Wilhelm having to fight the reanimated corpse of his own wife, that fight shook me. Their entire backstory plays out during that battle, and it's not just epic, it's raw. You can feel every blow, every memory, every unspoken word. But what really brought it full circle was when Reinhard steps in and finishes the fight. That moment just landed differently. It felt so symbolic, like a torch being passed. It's one of those scenes that really stuck with me as a viewer. But I'll be honest, Reinhard's dad, nah, I've never hated a character so fast in my life. That man's entire existence just felt designed to make my blood boil. Zero redeeming qualities. And then there's my favorite moment of the entire season, Subaru standing up and delivering his message to the people of Pristella. Stella. That speech chills, pure chills. Seeing him rise up not as some overpowered protagonist, but as a leader, a symbol of hope, it was beautiful. And what really made it powerful is how everyone acknowledged him. For once, people finally saw Subaru for who he really is, a savior, a hero, a man who's willing to suffer quietly if it means others can smile. That speech gave hope to a city that was drowning in fear, literally and emotionally, and it showed us just how far Subaru's come from the broken, desperate boy we met in season 1. My guy has grown, and watching that growth unfold, it calms the heart, man. And look, before we wrap things up, I have to shine a light on the side cast, because once again, they didn't just show up, they showed out. Every single one of them played a major role this season, and honestly, that's one of the things I love most about ReZero. These characters matter. They're not just background noise, they're part of the soul of the story. Starting with my guy Otto, he may not have had a ton of screen time this season, but when he did show up, he delivered. This man managed to rescue the burnt tome of wisdom and brought it to a specialist to restore it. He's always working behind the scenes, doing the heavy lifting no one else thinks about, and that's exactly why he's the unsung MVP again. Emilia also leveled up this season in a way that deserves serious respect. She used Regulus's arrogance against him to gain critical info and didn't hesitate to pass it on to Subaru and the crew. Strategic, composed, and powerful, especially in that final battle where she came through with everything she had. She's not the same girl from season 1, and I'm here for it. Then we have Liliana the songstress, someone I didn't expect to be so essential, but wow, her music literally held the city together, calming the panicked civilians when things were spiraling into chaos. Music as a weapon of peace, beautiful. And let's talk about Priscilla, Miss I don't lift a finger unless it benefits me, volunteering to take on Sirius. That was wild, out of character, but also incredibly powerful, prideful as ever, but even she couldn't ignore the weight of what was happening. That little moment of stepping up, it hit hard. By this point, the stage was set. The final battle had officially begun. Lines were drawn, strategies formed, the tension was through the roof. Subaru and Reinhard teamed up to take on Regulus. Talk about a power duo. Julius and Ricardo were back in action, facing off against Gluttony once again. Priscilla and Liliana stood against Sirius in a fight that mixed strength and serenity. And Wilhelm and Garfiel, they went head to head with the reanimated corpse once more, tying up emotional threads that have been hanging since the start of the season. Every side character had a place, every role mattered, and in the chaos of war, everyone showed up. Alright, let's talk about the first big showdown after the teams were set, Al versus Capella. And yo, this caught me off guard. For the first time, we see Al truly get angry. Not just annoyed, not just snarky, genuinely furious. And you could feel there was something personal there. Capella tried to mess with his emotions, twist his memories, manipulate him with illusions, but Al didn't flinch. He saw through it. And here's where things get really interesting. Al was also isekai'd like Subaru. He literally told Subaru this in the source material, but the anime just cut it out. Why? No idea. But it adds a whole new layer to Al as a character. Then we jump into one of my favorite fights of the season, Subaru and Reinhard versus Regulus. And oh man, this was intense, but also kind of hilarious in a weird way. Like, picture this. Reinhard pulls out the legendary dragon sword to end things quick, and the sword literally refuses to activate because it doesn't acknowledge Regulus as a worthy opponent, bro. Even the sword disrespected him. I was wheezing. So the fight kicks off, and at first it's just Reinhard versus Regulus. Epic, high stakes, you know the vibe. But then Regulus yeets Reinhard into the stratosphere, leaving Subaru and Emilia to deal with this monster. And this is where the battle turns into a brain game. We find out Regulus has this broken ability where time is frozen in his body. That's why no damage works on him. He's basically invincible. But the twist, he scattered fragments of his heart into his wives. Yeah, man literally turned his wives into living shields, but Subaru, being the king of clutch, manages to figure out Regulus's ability without even needing a bunch of death loops. Absolute genius play. They find a way to remove those heart fragments, which finally disables Regulus's cheat mode defense. Then Emilia just snaps. She goes in and beats this man down emotionally, physically, spiritually, you name it. And just when you think it's over, Reinhard comes back. Man literally jumps off the moon like he's in an RPG cutscene and finishes the job in the most poetic way possible. Regulus, this twisted egomaniac archbishop, he goes down like a whiny, pathetic wreck. And honestly, it was so satisfying to watch. This man got everything he deserved. What made this fight stand out wasn't just the action, it was how Subaru handled it. No deaths, no resets, just strategy, growth, and teamwork. You could see how far he's come since season 1, and for that reason alone, this fight easily one of the top in the series. So now the second biggest fight of this season, and honestly my personal favorite in terms of pure animation and choreography, was Garfiel versus Kurgan. Man, this battle was insane. Every punch, every transformation, every frame was just dripping with intensity. But what really hit me, the moment the crowd started cheering for Garfiel, when among them were his newly discovered siblings. That moment gave me chills. It wasn't just a fight, it was Garfiel's full circle moment, proving how much he's grown, how far he's come since the Sanctuary arc. Absolute goosebump. Over on another front, we had Priscilla and Liliana teaming up to take down Sirius, and yes, they actually captured her. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted more. We need to know who she really is. I still believe she has to be Fortuna. Like, everything adds up. Her obsession with Emilia, her mannerisms, those elf ears. Why hasn't the anime confirmed this yet? Then there's another team fight. Fel, Otto, and Beatrice versus Gluttony. This one was intense. I mean, Beatrice and Otto MVPs. They managed to hold their ground and overpower him. But then boom, we're hit with another reveal. Another Gluttony appears, and this time, it's a girl. Yup. At this point, Gluttony's giving off creepy cult sibling energy, and it all starts making sense when Sirius warns Subaru about Gluttony before everything goes downhill. And man, speaking of going downhill, Julius. My heart dropped when Gluttony targeted him, and I knew something was off the moment Julius said his full name in battle. They literally told him not to do that, and now he's next on Gluttony's list. Bro, the cliffhanger was ruthless. They really hit us with that emotional combo before the credits rolled. So yeah, season 3 ends on a massive setup for season 4, and I can't wait to see where we're headed. Since I can't sit still, I'm diving into the novels while we wait. I need answers. I want to know everything, especially about Pandora. Who is she really? What are her motives? And what's next for Gluttony and Capella, now that Capella ran off like the snake she is? Either way, ReZero has officially cemented itself as one of my favorite anime of all time. And honestly, I never thought I'd say that about an isekai. As a diehard shonen fan, I didn't expect a series like this to hit me so hard, but here we are. From the characters, the fights, the heartbreak, to the insane twists, this anime changed the game for me. And don't worry, this won't be the last time we talk about ReZero. I've got one more video coming soon that'll dive even deeper, so stay tuned for that. But before I go, I just want to give a massive shout out to the ReZero community. Thank you for welcoming me into this world and for riding along with me through every single episode. Your support has meant everything. So if you vibed with this video and want more anime breakdowns, reviews, and discussions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another upload. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.